What does success look like? Well, success looks like you have positive expected value, right? In poker, the simple way to summarize that is your opponent, let's just say you and I are playing, are going to make a bunch of mistakes. There's a bunch of it that's going to be absolutely perfect. And then there's a few spots where you make mistakes. And then there's a bunch of places in the poker game where I play perfectly and I make a few mistakes. Basically, your mistakes minus my mistakes is the edge, right? That's how poker works. If I make fewer mistakes than you make, I will make money and I will win. That is the objective of the game. Translate that into business. You're running a company. You have a team of employees. You have a pool of human capital that's capable of being productive in the world and creating something. But you are going to make mistakes in making that. Maybe it doesn't completely fit the market. Maybe it's mispriced. Maybe it actually doesn't require all of the people that you need, so the margins are wrong. And then there's the competitive set of all the other alternatives that customer has. Their mistakes minus your mistakes is the expected value of Google, Facebook, Apple, etc. Okay? Now take investing. Every time you buy something, somebody else on the other side is selling it to you. Is that their mistake? We don't know yet. But their mistakes minus your mistakes is how you make a lot of money over long periods of time as an investor. Somebody sold you Google at $40 a share. You bought it and you kept it. Huge mistake on their part, minimum mistakes on your part. The difference of that is the money that you made. So life can be summarized in many ways in that way. So the question is, what can you do about other people's mistakes? And the answer is nothing. That is somebody else's game. You can try to influence them. You could try to subvert them. Maybe you plant a spy inside of that other person's company to sabotage them. I guess there are things at the edges that you can do. But my firm belief is that life success really boils down to how do you control your mistakes? Now, this is a bit counterintuitive. The way you control your mistakes is by making a lot of mistakes.
So taking risks
have to.
Is somehow
you have to.
A way to minimize the number of mistakes.
Let's just say you want to find love.
Yeah.
You know, you want to find somebody you're deeply connected with.
Yeah.
Do you do that by not going out on dates and
Yes. Sorry. You're
the only person that thinks that's the answer to that question.
No, I'm joking.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, you have to date people, you have to open yourself up, you have to be authentic, and like you give yourself a chance to get hurt.
Yes.
But you're a good person. So you know what happens when you get hurt? That is actually their mistake. Okay? And if you are inauthentic, that's your mistake. That's a controllable thing in you. You can tell them the truth, who you are, and say, here's my pluses and minuses. My point is, there are very few things in life that you can't break down, I think, into that very simple idea. And in terms of your mistakes, society tells you don't make them because we will judge you and we will look down on you. And I think the really successful people realize that actually, no, it's the cycle time of mistakes that gets you to success. Because your error rate will diminish the more mistakes that you make. You observe them, you figure out where it's coming from. Is it a psychological thing? Is it a, cognitive thing? And then you fix it.
So the implied thing there is that there's in business and investing, in poker, in dating, in life, is that there's this platonic GTO, game theory optimal thing out there. And so when you say mistakes, you're always comparing to that optimal path you could have taken.
I think slightly different. I would say mistake is maybe a bad proxy, but it's the best proxy I have for learning. But I'm using the language of what society tells you.
Sure, got it.
Society tells you that when you try something and it doesn't work, it's a mistake. So I just use that word because it's the word that resonates most with most people.
Got it.
The real thing that it is learning.
Yeah, it's like in neural networks, it's lost.
It's a neural network, it's lost, exactly.
Yeah, right. So you're using the mistake that is most, the word that is most understandable, especially by the way people experience it. I guess most of life is a sequence of mistakes. The problem is when you use the word mistake and you think about mistakes it actually has a counterproductive effect of you becoming conservative in just being risk averse. So that's if you flip it and say try to maximize the number of successes, somehow that leads you to take more risk. Mistake scares people.
I think mistakes scare people because society likes these very simplified boundaries of who is winning and who is losing. And they want to reward people who make traditional choices and succeed. But the thing is, what's so corrosive about that is that they're actually not even being put in a position to actually make a quote unquote mistake and fail. So I'll give you if you look at like getting into an elite school, right? Society rewards you for being in the Ivy Leagues in a way that, in my opinion, incorrectly, doesn't reward you for being in a non-Ivy League school. There's a certain level of status and presumption of intellect and capability that comes with being there. But that system doesn't really have a counterfactual because it's not as if you both go to MIT and Ohio State. And then we can see two versions of Lex Friedman so that we can figure out that the jig is up and there was no difference. Right? And so instead it reinforces this idea that there is no truth-seeking function. There is no way to actually make this thing whole. And so it tells you, you have to get in here. And if you don't, your life is over. You've made a huge mistake.